All right, guys, welcome to the Hermosa Beach Triathlon pre-race talk. I'm with you, Coach Jim Lubinski with Tower 26. Also here helping me out is Coach Chris O'Driscoll with Tower 26. Chris, say hi to everybody.
Good evening, everybody.
The king of the South Bay. If you guys went to any of the Tower 26 clinics, swim clinics, triathlon clinics, triathlon camps, Chris is the one that was in charge of those, so he's very familiar with the course, and he's probably familiar with most of you guys. So we are going to lay out details of the course, some things to remind you to bring with you on race day, when to check in, and yes, just some general triathlon information throughout this talk via keynote presentation. So if you guys have questions throughout the presentation, why don't you write it in the chat, and then we will answer it as they come up. And Ellen, are you there? Where are you at, Ellen? Can you unmute for a second? Ellen. Check, Ellen. I'm going to have Ellen. Ellen, you there?
Yeah.
Can you keep an eye on the questions and bring them up at the comments and bring them up as people have them for me?
Oh, there.
All right. So I will share the screen. We'll get right into it. Is that all right, Chris?
Perfect. Go for it, Jimmy.
Right. So we will go to the first slide. I'll play it. All right. So Hermosa's Beach Triathlon. Tower 26 Hermosa Beach Triathlon coming this Sunday.
No,
Fun
next
times.
Next
What's that?
Sunday. Next Sunday.
Next Sunday. I'm sorry. Yeah, a week from Sunday. All these weeks are mixed up here. So next Sunday, a week from Sunday. So we just want to go over some things you guys might want to remember as you're getting ready for race day. Some things that you will need going into race day. So we'll break it down: swim, bike, run. You need a triathlon kit or something to wear while you're racing. So something to wear under your wetsuit. You don't change that outfit that you wear, swim, bike, run. You wear the same outfit the whole way. So if you wear a wetsuit, you wear it under your wetsuit. You strip the wetsuit off, you have it there. You get on your bike in that same outfit. You ride your bike in that outfit, and then you put your bike in the transition, and you wear that same outfit as you go and run. We call that a triathlon kit if you're wearing the correct attire for triathlon. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that, but that's how you're going to be most comfortable. We also recommend you getting two sets of goggles, a tinted one and a clear one. If you have a sunny day, you wear the tinted set of goggles. If you have a clear day, you wear the clear set of Sorry, if you have a sunny day, you wear a tinted. If you have a foggy day, you wear the clear set of goggles. Brightly colored towel. We'll go over that in a second, why you might want that. A wetsuit. The water is on the chilly side. It's not mandatory you wear a wetsuit, but it helps you float. It helps with your swimming efficiency, and it keeps you warm. Something to lubricate any hot spots that might pop up as you're swimming, biking, and running. So something Vaseline, or something that they have at a triathlon shop like Triathlon Labs called Glide. And then you always want to have toilet paper on you. So it's always something a triathlete needs in their right-hand pocket. For the bike, you want to bring your bike. It's necessary. You have to wear a helmet while you're riding. Cycling shoes, or the shoes that you're going to wear while you're biking and running. You're not necessarily going to be wearing cycling shoes, but what you're going to wear while you bike, while you run. Sunglasses, water bottle that you're going to use while you're on the bike, something that you're going to want to take while you're riding the bike, nutrition, such as a gel, blocks, a bar, whatever makes you happy. And then something in case you got a flat tire. It's not the longest loop, so there will be support on course if you did get a flat tire, but you kind of want to be prepared with the right tools to change a flat tire in case you got it on your bike. And then before you start the race, you want to have a floor pump. So something you can pump up your tires before you leave your car in the morning, and then you can leave that pump in the car. For the run, pretty straightforward. All you need is your running shoes. We like to use a race belt in triathlon, so it's something that you put around your waist as you head out on the run, and your race number is on that belt. That way, you're not having to pin anything on your jersey. You're not having to use those those pins to go through the clothing, which could prick your skin in the swim and the bike. So it's a race belt, and that's something they will have at Triathlon Lab, and we'll probably be giving out at Triathlon Lab when you guys go and check in on Saturday, if that's the case. Something to shield your eyes from the sun, like a hat or a visor, and then a gel or something that you want to take on the run so you can help keep that energy up throughout the run. Some miscellaneous things you might want to remember is a watch, something that keeps your data. If you're a data guy, something you put on your wrist, and you can collect all that data after the race. Some people don't like to use anything, so don't worry about that. Like I said earlier, something to lubricate any of those hot spots on your neck, on your heels, anywhere that might cause a blister or cause some type of chafing. Put on some sunscreen before you leave the house in the morning. Vaseline is the same thing as the Body Glide. Electrical tape, it's not that much big of a deal, but in case you're in transition, you see something that's a little loose on your bike, you can tape it down. and then a change of clothes for after the race, probably something you could wear before the race, but something you wear after the race so you're not walking around your sweaty outfit the rest of the day as you're collecting your medals from the podium. This is a race kit or a triathlon kit. There's 2-piece version. There's a 1-piece version. Like I said, it's very form-fitting. It keeps the chafing down. It keeps the wind resistance down. So if that's something that you don't have now and you're interested in, they will have those at Triathlon Lab the day before the race. You can check those out there. All right, Alan, any questions coming in?
So not about the kid, but this is news to me. So the question came from Chris, who said, is there any concern with the race being delayed due to recent beach closures? I know Hermosa was closed last weekend. I didn't know anything about that. Anybody, Coach, do you know?
Yeah, we spoke to the race director about that. And as of right now, there's no changes. Everything is measuring normal right now, but they're obviously always monitoring the situation for safety of the athletes. So if there were a concern, they would be the first to address it and make the right call for the race. But as of right now, there are no changes. Everything is on the up and up. So good question there. We knew that would come up, and that'll be one of the first ones.
One is, are you going to be sharing a copy of the presentation for anybody who may have missed the first couple slides?
Yes, we will have this recording up. I'm going to send it to Maria with the Hermosa Triathlon, and she's going to send it out in mass to everybody who's registered for the race. So once we're done with this, I'll get it processed up on YouTube, and then we will send it to Maria for her to share the link.
And the other question was answered on the second page, which is, the load for wetsuit, putting it on the wetsuit.
Hey, your microphone's a little wacky, so just speak up a little bit. What'd you say on that one?
The other question was around what do we put on to lube for the wetsuit, to put on the wetsuit.
I still didn't hear that. Chris, did you hear that?
Hang on.
With the wetsuit, is that better?
I got you.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Putting on the wetsuit to lube up to put on the wetsuit. That's an interesting question.
Well, so putting on your wetsuit, yeah, that's a good question. So putting on your wetsuit, keep your socks on. Keep your socks on to put on the wetsuit. Chris, can you see the questions too? Chris?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
yeah.
Ellen, forget it. Let him listen to this. Take that out. Chris is going to read the questions as they come in. See, I think on my feet over here, guys. So when you're putting on your wetsuit, so you don't stab a hole with your feet, it makes it easier. Keep your socks on, put on the wetsuit, and then take your socks off. Bring it up to your waist, and then from there, it's pretty easy. The hardest part is getting your feet through the holes and then bringing it up. So you slowly bring it up your legs, but you don't necessarily need any lubricant to get the wetsuit on. But the easiest piece of advice I could say is keep your socks on to put through the leg holes and then bring the wetsuit up from there. And you slowly inch it up. You don't just yank it with your fingernails and rip it. You got to slowly work it up if there's any bunchage or anything like that, because it should be really form-fitting and really tight in the right spots. Any other questions there?
There was one about bacteria levels at the beach. I've been down there all week, and I've been no problems whatsoever all week.
Yeah, we just said that. We're watching it, but everything's perfect right now.
There's no problems.
Yep. Okay, so we'll move on. And all right, so race weekend schedule, August 12th, early packet pickup opens at Triathlon Lab. So this is Saturday, the day before the race. So if you can knock this out the day before the race, there's one less thing you have to worry about race day, because you're going to be worried about setting up your parking, setting up your transition, all the things, running around, going to the bathroom, getting air in your tires, all that. This takes one thing off of your to-do list on race morning. So if you can get over to the Triathlon Lab on Saturday, packet pickup starts at noon. 1 to 4, there's going to be continuous triathlon clinics going on, talking about the race, talking about little tips and tricks you can use throughout race day, answering questions you might have. And there's a lot of people who haven't listened to this presentation, so they're going to be asking all the questions that you already know from listening to this presentation. So 1 to 4, there's going to be nonstop clinics going on. The early packet pickup closes at 4 p.m. Remember, you need to bring your picture ID card or a license or something like that, and your USAT card if you're an annual member. If you're not an annual member, they'll make you fill out a one-day license form, which is no big deal. You just do that there. But if you have both those things, make sure you bring that with you. Really strongly recommend you pick it up on Saturday, so you don't have to worry about those lines on Sunday, because when you have 1,000 people racing out there and they all have to pick up their packets on Sunday, they are lines, they will form. Sunday, 5:15 pickup opens. The transition area opens as well. Body marking begins 6:30 p.m. Registration closes and the packet pickup and closes 6:40. Now 6:40 at the main stage, we'll do a race instructions and national anthem. So we'll go over the race course one more time, give you any last minute details that we can think of. At 6:40, 6:50, the transition area closes. So you have to get everything out of the transition area by 6:50. We all want to be out there because the race is starting at 7 and there's going to be athletes coming in at 7:10. So we don't want you still packing up your transition area, getting it ready while athletes are coming in as part of their race. So we want everybody out of the transition area by 6:50. The race starts. Transition area will reopen at 9 a.m. So all you guys who finish at 7:45, 7:50, 8, 8:15, you can't get your gear until 9 a.m. So if you wanted to change a clothes and you're going to be done before 9 a.m., give it to a friend or a family member, and then you'll be able to change your clothes. Otherwise, you can only get in transition area at 9 a.m. to get that change of clothes and get your bike out. 9:45, the awards will begin. 10:15, everything needs to be out of that transition area, and they will start breaking down the transition area. Any questions there, Chris?
Yeah, one from Mark Klein. No wetsuit, only a tri-suit to reduce transition time. Is that a bad idea? The only thing, Mark, you've got to use it. You know, you don't want to be using it race day. You want to practice with it now. Don't leave it up to race day to suddenly figure out, oh, maybe I should have got a wetsuit. Try the tri-suit now. If it works, perfect. The race or the swim is only going to take you 10 or 15 minutes. It's very, very easy swim. So
yeah, we'll go over the swim course shortly, but it depends on what type of level swimmer you are and what you want out of the race. You're going to swim faster with the wetsuit on. You get much more buoyant. Well, most athletes are going to swim faster with the wetsuit on. If you're top end swimmer, it really doesn't make a difference. But for most of us out there, we are going to benefit from the wetsuit. It's going to keep you warmer. And but if you're really worried about transition time, that's all part of the race as well, it is going to make you faster in transition. So you kind of have to weigh what type of swimmer you are versus how fast your transition is versus strengths and benefits of each. So you don't have to wear the wetsuit. All right, here's your start times, your waves. This will be available on Saturday and then Sunday before the race, but everybody will be given a specific color cap based on your division. This is when you'll be going off. So you'll have obviously starting at 7 o'clock, and our last wave will be going off at 7:48 and everything in between based on what division you're in. So pay attention to that and go off with your division. So if you're supposed to go off at 7 o'clock, go off at 7 o'clock. Don't be late and go off at 7:18 because then it's going to skew the results. And then you have to go the timing and create the whole rigmarole, which timing might not get right. So go off at the right time, and let's make sure everything is in order when you finish. So take note of that. Make sure you know what time you're going off, and just make sure you're surrounded by people with the same color caps as you. As long as that's the case, you're good to go. But if you're royal blue cap and you're going off with a bunch of powder blue caps, you might be in the wrong wave. All right, so some tips on how to treat race weekend nutrition wise. So Saturday morning, you're entering an endurance event on Sunday. So you want to have some carbohydrates. No matter what anybody says, fats, protein, let's fuel on all that stuff. When you're entering an endurance event, your body works on carbohydrates for the most part. So you want to eat a carb heavy breakfast. You don't need to just eat bread and pasta all day long, but just have a little more of an emphasis on carbohydrates as the day goes through. So eat a carb heavy breakfast, maybe some oats, some eggs, toast, maybe some oatmeal, fruit, maybe some yogurt. Get a little training in. You don't want to totally take the day off. Get a little job, maybe a little ride in, go through your gears, make sure everything's working on your bike. Get off the bike, put on your shoes that you're going to use on race day, go for a 10-minute jog, but just something to get the legs moving. Then get home, get off your feet. If you can go to packet pickup, do it earlier in the day so you're not wandering around and stressing your legs the entire day. We're not racing the longest distance. For a lot of you guys, it's the first race you've ever done. You want to have a great experience. So if you go into it tired because you beat up your legs on Saturday, you're not going to have the greatest experience on Sunday. So treat it with the respect it deserves. Get home, get off your feet, eat dinner early. Don't overhydrate. Don't just chug a ton of water because you say, I'm racing tomorrow. I got to drink a lot. Just sip on a beverage throughout the day. Good balanced dinner, carb, protein, vegetables. Now, one thing that we do stress, especially on hotter races, and it will be warm on Sunday on race day, it probably will be sunny, most likely. We want to take in some electrolytes. So Gatorade, they have noon tablets. So that's the kind of thing you want to be sipping on all day Saturday and then prior to the race on Sunday. And then, like I said earlier, after your early dinner, just shut it down early, turn off all your screens. Even if you can't sleep because you're nervous, just close your eyes and relax. You will get to sleep, even though on Sunday morning, you'll say, I didn't sleep at all. You will sleep more than you thought, but shut it down early and get off those screens as early as you can. Race day Sunday, wake up early, wake up about at least 2.5 hours before race start, eat right away. So that way you're not digesting food as you're racing. So eat about 2.5 hours before your start time. Eat stuff that's easily digested carbohydrates, like oatmeal with a scoop of jam and a scoop of nut butter in there, maybe a banana. Keep sipping on those electrolytes all morning. Don't be chugging it. Just keep sipping on a water bottle with some electrolytes in it. Once you get to the race venue, check the outhouse situation. If you need to hit that outhouse, most of you will. Let's get that done early. Make sure the correct air is in your tire. Those PSI, depending on your tires, what type of bike you're using, it all dependent on tire width, tire size. So check what your tires should have in it, and then go off of that based on how many PSIs you're filling the tires with. Set up your transition without adding anything that you don't need. You don't want to bring everything in the kitchen sink to transition. Bring only what you need: your bike shoes, your helmet, your sunglasses, your run shoes, your race belt, and the visor. You don't need a bucket. You don't need all this other stuff that's going to cause all this chaos when you're going from swimming to biking to running. So only things you need in transition. When you get to your transition area, look at the swim in area, look at where you come in from the swim, look at where you take your bike and run out with it, and then look at where you after you take your bike and you rack it, where you run out to the run course, and know the path you'll take to each of those. Because you're going to enter the transition from the swim, you're going to leave the transition on the bike, out the bike out area, and then you're going to enter from the bike in to the run out area. So know the path you're going to take to each. Get to the swim start early, maybe go for a nice, easy little jog before getting in the water and getting for a feel for it before your swim start. Chris, what am I missing?
Well, I got a couple of questions here. Where should I bring bike and running shoes, other stuff for the race day? Take them down to transition. Anything you don't need, you can hand over the little fence to your friends, and they can hold on to your stuff that you don't need. The best place to park is on 13th Street in Hermosa. It's a huge parking lot right there. Is a hybrid bike acceptable? I think so, yeah, as long as it's doesn't have, it's not battery operated or anything. I'm sure.
Yeah, you can use any bike on this course. You can use a beach cruiser. You can be hybrid. You can use we'll go over that in a second, but yeah, use any bike. I'm going to go over transition setup shortly, where you guys put it. But what will happen is each rack will have your division, and you'll rack your bike on that division. So if you're 45 to 49, it'll send men 45 to 49. You rack on there, and right where you put your bike is where you put your running gear, your bike gear, and that's where you can also put your bag. If you have a bag, keep all your rest of your stuff in it. You keep it in transition there.
We'll have plenty of people down there on race morning. I think we've got about 5 or 6 coaches coming down to help everybody set up. And if you need any help or you don't know what you're doing, just see someone with a Tower 26 t-shirt on. We're going to be there to help you. So, and
just so you guys know, the only ones allowed in transition are athletes. So everyone has a wristband, only athletes with wristbands. So all your stuff is safe in there. There's no one letting anyone else in the transition. So when you leave to go to the swim and all the bikes are in there, they're safe. No one's in there except for athletes. And when you leave later in the day to go get the awards, and you leave all your stuff in there until you get it out at 10:15, everything's safe in transition. But regarding transition setup, this is what it should look like. You rack your bike, you place your run gear first. As you see, it's closer to the bike rack because you're going to be using that later in the race. You put your bike gear. Now, some of you might just be using running shoes on the bike, which is fine. So you would put that where the helmet is, or the helmet next to the run shoes. But for those using cycling shoes, that'll be in the front with the helmet. So that way, when you run in from the swim, you'll strip your wetsuit off, you throw on your cycling shoes, grab your helmet, put on your helmet, latch it, grab your bike, and then you're going to walk your bike out of transition. And there's a line called the mount line. You have to go over the mount line before you can get on your bike. You don't just get on your bike in transition and start riding it, right? So this is a transition setup. Take a look at it, and yeah, this is exactly what you want to leave what you want to look like. As you see, the athlete here doesn't have anything that they don't need in there, and their bag is on the furthest side of their bike by the back tire. That's the bag that they came to the race with. It has all their dry clothes in there, what they wore to the race, anything they need after the race. So that way, when they go in and get their gear, their bag is right there. So what you can do in transition, so there's like I said, there's gonna be 1,000 athletes in there. You say, how the heck am I gonna find my bike amongst 1,000 athletes? You rack your bike on that appropriate rack based on your division. And then you can look up and you can see something that's kind of in line with your bike rack, whether it's a palm tree or Sharkies or something that's stagnant, that's not going to move. So when you're running in from the swim, and you went from this vertical to horizontal position, your heart rate's up, you're running up the beach, your head's chaotic, you're not running around like your head's on fire looking for your bike. You can say, hey, my bike, I know, was right in the line with Sharky's. I'm going to run the Sharky's, and that's where my bike is parked. It's not going to move once you put it there and you leave transition. So find a stagnant object, something that's not going to move, run to that object, and that's where your bike will be. Like I said earlier, know the path. When you grab your bike, you're going to walk it out of transition to that mountain line, cross the mountain line, and then you get on your bike and you ride it on the course. So know the path you're going to take from that rack to the bike out. And then when you bring your bike in from the bike course, know the path you're going to take back to your rack, because you're going to go back to the exact place your bike came from, rack it where you're going to put on your running gear and run out of transition towards that run out. Now, I know someone's going to ask, what about sand on your feet when you run in from the beach? You can use the towel that I told you guys to bring earlier to wipe your feet off, or you can just wipe your feet real quick with your hand and then put on your shoes. Honestly, I've raced thousands of triathlons. I've never had an issue with sand on my feet. So any questions there, Chris?
Yeah. Can we bring everything to set up on Saturday? No, you cannot. Transition opens, I think, at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. Get there early enough to set it up.
Yeah, 5:15. The transition is not set up on Saturday.
Yep. Yeah. Can you repeat the best place garage to park? There's plenty of parking on 13th Street in Hermosa, and just bring you can park there for 4 or 5 hours. So
I showed up right when everybody was showing up last year, and I parked right next to transition. There's a parking lot, and there's a Starbucks at the bottom of it. I parked right there. I mean, there's parking everywhere, so nothing to worry about. Give yourself enough time to get there and park. Don't show up the race start 15 minutes before the race starts. Give yourself plenty of time, but as long as you do that, you'll be fine. There's plenty of parking down there, so nothing to stress out about. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, so let's go over the course a little bit here. Sorry, we got a blurry photo, but the course is just swim course, just one loop, half mile. It's clockwise. So as you'll see, you walk south. You'll walk south about 400 meters, 500 meters south of the pier, and from there there will be the start line. You'll see it. It'll be a big arch. It'll say Hermosa Beach Triathlon Start. That's the start. So your wave will all line up there. When the gun goes off for your specific wave, you'll run down the beach. You'll enter. You'll swim out. I believe you're going to swim out about 250 meters, and you swim across 125. You swim across 120, 150, then you swim in 125. So there you go. Pretty straightforward. Just a box out, right-hand turn, cross, right-hand turn, in to the beach. It's ocean entry, exit. Now you might have some waves. Let's just make sure you guys, if you run out into the wave at the start, the wave is coming towards you, just dive right under it. Don't try and face it head on. If you dive under the wave, you let it pass over the top of you, you'll be through it before you know it. But if you try and stand and fight the wave, that's where you're going to feel that wave bring you back. So approach the wave, dive under it, feel the wave go over you, then you pop up and you keep swimming towards that first buoy. We're going to make the right-hand turn. When you make the second right-hand turn, that's where you have to keep an eye on the waves coming behind you. So you might get one or two waves. We're not going out very far, but that doesn't mean there aren't going to be any waves coming in and crashing. So as you're coming back in 125 yards, you want to keep an eye behind you when you're turning to breathe. And if you see a wave approaching, you stop. The wave comes towards you. You duck under the wave. You let it pass over the top of you, and then you keep swimming towards the beach. Right? So you don't try and beat the wave to the beach, because then it's going to scorpion you legs over your head as it picks you up. You let the wave, you stop, you let the wave pass you, and then you keep swimming towards the beach. Once you hit the beach, it is an uphill run up the sand to transition. Just keep moving, guys. You're going to have a little bit of, you're going to be a little discombobulated coming out of the water. Like I said, going from that horizontal to vertical position, but just keep moving forward, and your heart rate will settle down as you keep moving. But don't stop. Don't stop and bend over and hold your knees. You'll be fine. Just keep moving forward towards that transition. Any questions on that swim course? It's pretty straightforward.
Pretty easy swim. Got a question here from Noah. If I'm racing with someone who isn't in my age group, can I start with them? The answer is no. You have to stay within your wave. If you're 45 to 50, you start with a 45-50. So it messes everything up in the timing. What is the typical swim style people use at the beach? It's just freestyle.
Yeah, so freestyle, front crawl, however you like to say it.
Yeah.
But honestly, in this race, do what you need to do to get through it. It's not, this is the entry level race for a lot of you guys. We just want you to have a good experience. So if you're comfortable doing breaststroke, do a breaststroke. If you're comfortable doing backstroke, do a backstroke. But if you look around while you're out there, everyone's going to be doing that. Most people are going to be doing the freestyle, and that's going to be the most efficient way to swim in a triathlon. So it's something you can work on going forward. You can come to our Tower 26 practices, and we'll help you learn that freestyle.
What kind of swim goggles do you recommend? Completely up to you, but you need to figure that out in the next day or two. You need to figure it out before next Sunday afternoon, or next Sunday morning for sure. All the goggles are different. Speedo are different. I use Aquasphere. People use Nike. There's a whole bunch of different goggles. You need to get one that you're comfortable with and fit your face. So
yeah, so Triathlon Lab is a sponsor of the Hermosa Beach Triathlon. They give everybody a discount, I believe. Don't they give everybody a discount?
Oh yeah.
That's a participant. They have a bunch of different goggles they carry. So go there, try on a bunch of pairs, whatever fits your face the best. That's going to be the best for you. So and it's trial and error. You might find it's not the best feeling one after you swim with it a couple times. That's fine. That's how you learn. But just as a starting point, you go try on a few pairs, you figure out which one feels best, and you go with that one. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Like I said, just some swim notes to take account of here. Like I said, on the entry, dive under the wave. Don't try and face it head on. It's going to be crowded at the start. You have about 100 athletes per wave starting at the same time. So don't think you need to be in the front row and just attack the course if you're not the strongest swimmer. Take your time, walk into the water, let all the faster athletes go, and you enter at your own speeds, the way that you're comfortable. But the last thing you want to do as you're entering is get in, the waves start coming, you just kind of stop in that no man's land where one comes after another comes. You want to keep moving forward through that break zone. You don't want to just stop in that break zone and let one have to hit after another. Now waves come in sets of 3 or 4. So if you guys go and we go on the time that you're supposed to start, we don't time it by when the set of waves is coming in. So you might be going at the start of a set. That means that, you have to go out there and you might get 2, 3, 4 waves coming that you have to duck under 3 or 4, and it might challenge you, but just keep moving forward and you'll get through it. Nothing to be scared of. You will get through it. There's gonna be plenty of support out there too. We have tons of lifeguards out there helping you guys out and keeping an eye out for everybody. So make sure you relax, especially if it's one of your first races ever. You're not accustomed to swimming with a bunch of people around you. You're not accustomed to swimming in a wetsuit. The race day feel, you have these race day nerves. So there's a chance you're going to hyperventilate where you kind of lose your breath, get behind on your breath. You feel like, oh my God, am I having a heart attack? Not having a heart attack, it's called hyperventilation. You just have to relax, let your breathing settle, let your heart rate settle, and then just keep moving forward. It's not the end of your day, especially in one of your first races. This happens. I've raced thousands of races. This has happened to me tens of times. And eventually you recognize and hey, I just got to chill out for a second, let myself relax, and then get back into my race. But it's not the end of your day if you start to hyperventilate. It's totally common. Once you get through that break, find a nice relaxed stroke, whatever that stroke is, get to those buoys, try and stay nice and tight to your buoys. If you're way left of that first turn buoy, you have to swim all the way back to it. All you're doing is adding yardage to your swim. So try and stay as tight to the buoys as you can. Chris, were you going to say something?
How does the relays work? The relays work. There is a little holding pen at the start, right by the pier, where all the relay people, the person who does the swim comes back in and tags the other person who jumps on the bike. And then
they have to switch. They have to switch their timing chip.
Switch their timing chip, tag the other person, and he does the run. So there's like a little holding area for the people that are doing the relay. Jamie left a message or sent a message here. Are headphones for music during the run and the bike allowed? Instant disqualification. If one of the marshals sees you with headphones on, you're disqualified. You've paid a couple of $100 for this. I'm sure you can go an hour without listening to music. So
well, it's distracting too. We want you to always be present. Make sure you're aware of your surroundings. You're on the course with 999 other people. If you have headphones and it's distracting you from what's going on around you, that could cause issues with yourself and other athletes.
Maria told us there for the relays tag and chip exchanges at the bike rack. Fitness devices allowed? Yes. Garmin, Fitbit? Yes, of course. So,
okay. So relay exchanges are at the bike racks.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the bike rack, that's where your relay partners are going to be waiting for you. So you come in from the swim, make sure you switch that timing chip to the person who's riding. The person comes in from riding, switch the timing chip to the person who's running, and it'll all happen at the bike rack.
Yeah.
All right. So as you see, the swim notes, we kind of went over all that already. Transition 1. You don't want to spend a ton of time in transition. No matter what you're in this for, just for fun or for winning it. I've never had an athlete say, I wish, I was fine in transition. You can always make it a little quicker. Get in there. Don't waste too much time and get out of there. As you run to your bike from coming out of the swim, you can start to take your wetsuit off. It just helps through the process. Once you get to your transition rack, you don't have to do as much. So as you're running, you can start to unzip that wetsuit. It helps a lot. Remember, if you're going to wear socks on the bike, wear socks. Don't just get caught up in the speed and everybody else around you getting on their bike and going. Because if you get a blister halfway through the bike, it's going to take a lot longer to get through the race with that blister than it would have to put socks on. So if you're used to wearing socks, do it, whether it's bike, run, or both. Make sure you put your helmet on first before you grab your bike. You can't take your bike off the bike rack without putting your helmet on and clipping it. You need another note, just to reiterate, you need to take your bike off the rack, walk or run, carefully run it out of that bike out area across the mount line. And once you cross that mount line, there's going to be volunteers saying, don't get on your bike yet. And once you cross the mount line, they'll say, get on your bike. So run it across that mount line, then you can get on your bike. Same thing coming back in the transition. You have to get off your bike before that same line, where now it's called the dismount line. So you can't cross that line on your bike. You have to get off your bike before you cross that line, and then you go into transition where you mount the bike.
Leaving the transition area, going up Pier Avenue is a little bit of a hill. So you want to be in probably a pretty low gear going up that hill. And also coming back after the loops on the bike, it's a pretty sharp downhill. You're going to be going pretty fast. So be careful going up and then also coming back into transition. It's pretty fast. So
yeah, so we have a 10-mile bike course, 3 loops, guys, not 1, not 2. Make sure you do all 3 loops on the bike course. And it's clearly marked. This is loop 1. This is loop 2. After loop 3, this is where you turn for the end of the bike. Like Chris just said, you start with that hill straight up Pier Avenue. So when you rack your bike in the morning, let's make sure your gearing is set to an easier gear that's going to help you out of transition go up that hill. Because if you're in a heavy gear that you have to push a big gear going up the hill, you're going to have a tough time getting up it. So before you leave your bike and you go to the swim, make sure you move it into an easier gear. So that way, when you get on it, you have an easier time going up that hill. At the end of each loop, you have those tight right-hand turns. It could be congested. Just be very safe. As you're going around the loops, we always stay to the right. When you want to pass somebody, you look over your left shoulder, you make the pass. And then once you make that pass, you move back to the right. You don't stay over on that right. You don't ride 3, 4 across. You always stay as far to the right as you can. When you pass, move to the left, and then make sure it's safe. You move back to the right. After you complete that 3rd loop, you're going to go back down that hill you came up on Pier. So make sure you use those brakes and you flutter those brakes going down, so you don't have this super fast descent into a slamming on the brakes where you're going to go over the front of the handlebars. Be really mindful of how you're executing that descent. Use the brakes accordingly and ease your way to that dismount line. Get off the bike before the dismount line, kick that leg over, and then walk or carefully run your bike to your transition rack where you can rack that. Always be aware. Head on a swivel. Make sure you are always taking your fellow riders into consideration. When you get on the bike, you have nice, strong, maintainable effort. You don't want to just blow it on that first loop and then have nothing left for the next 2 loops. So a good maintainable effort, something steady that you can maintain for 10 miles. Keep the cadence not too high or not too low. What I mean is spinning really fast cadence is not efficient, and grinding a really low cadence is not efficient. So nice, smooth cadence. If you have cadence on your bike, you probably want to be around the 75 to 85 RPM range. Like I said, stay to the right at all times unless you're passing. Now we have 8 days until race day. And if you don't know the gearing on your bike, you have 8 days to practice yourself going through those gears. So that's something you want to be aware of before race day. Stay present and focus on the process. The reason we don't allow headphones, you want to always be mindful of what you're doing on course for yourself, for other riders. Break down the distance into smaller chunks. Maybe some of you have only ridden 3 miles in your life. So just ride one loop at a time and stay within your ability level. Like I said earlier, take that transition back, that descent back in the transition easy. We don't any issues at that dismount line. So just take it down easy. You're not going to make or break your day based on that descent. Make sure you stay on some type of nutrition, sipping on a water bottle. If you're familiar with taking gels, take a gel at the beginning of the ride, give you a little energy, and then maybe another gel at the beginning of the run. Questions there, Chris?
The course is closed to traffic. And have people ended up walking parts of the bike loop? Never. It's only 10 miles. It's pretty easy. It's pretty there's only a little hill at the start and a downhill at the end. The rest is all very, very flat. So there's nobody walking.
Just keep your legs moving, guys. You'll be fine. It's just like you're going out for a Sunday ride. Just have fun with it. No stress. Like I said, carefully dismount and then walk your bike to your transition area. Make sure you look at that stable marker once again, so you know where those running shoes are going to be, because when it looks completely different when there's no bikes there than when you got out of the swim to grab your bike to when you came back from the bike to go on your run. It looks completely different. So that's where that stable marker helps. Rack the bike, sit down, put on your socks and shoes if you don't already have them on. As you run out of transition, you can put on your hat, your sunglasses, your race belt, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, once again, make it snappy, but don't be hasty. Make sure you remember everything to grab as you leave transition. All right, run course, 3 miles, 1.5 miles out, 1.5 miles back. It's just on the strand. It's completely flat, completely exposed. You're probably going to want to wear some type of visor or hat with sunglasses. Finish line is in the sand. It's only about 10 or 15 feet. You just veer off to the right and you cross the finish line. So it's not like you're doing any soft sand running for any extended period of time. So that's the run course. Not much to it. The beginning, your legs are going to be a little rubbery from being on the bike and coming out of that swim. So just give it time. Your legs will open up. Just keep your legs moving. If you need the walk run for the first mile, that's fine. Just keep your legs moving and they will start to feel better after about a mile. Just run 1 mile at a time. Run 1 mile to the second mile to the third mile. Before you know it, you'll be done. No matter what anybody's doing around you, race your race. Like I said, if you need to run, walk. If you need to walk a majority of it, if you want to put your head down and run as fast as you possibly can, and you know you can maintain that for 3 miles, do it. But race your race. Stay present, mindful. There will be that bad wolf, is what we like to call it. Something saying, hey, slow down. This hurts. You shouldn't be doing this. So we'll pipe up. Focus on the effort, focus on staying present and how you're moving as opposed to listening to that bad wolf. And you always want to finish strong, put your hands up and smile for the camera as you finish on that beautiful beach. Any questions there, Chris?
Nope. Nothing.
No questions. All right. Some upgrades you can make going into race day, like we talked about. You can get a wetsuit. They have those available at Triathlon Lab. You have goggles, clear and a tinted one. Triathlon Lab as well. Like I said, race belt is going to help your day immensely just by having one of those. And if you bought a race kit, the last thing you want to do is put pinholes in that race kit. So race belt helps with that. If you want a bike fit, you can get that where you fit your bike, your body to your bike a little better. It makes it a little more, makes you feel a little better on the bike and get a little more efficiency out of that bike. Now, run shoes are a hot topic that I like to bring up all the time. You need run shoes that are fit to your foot. So a good place to do that is Roadrunner Sports. They have no skin in the game. I just love to send people there because they do a great shoe fit for everyone. You get all your gel and hydration stuff that I was talking about at Triathlon Lab, the race kits at Triathlon Lab. You want to get a little more intense training going on, you can get a trainer and you can ride with us on our Tower 26 Triathlon training program. All right. Any other questions coming in? Anything anyone wants to go over? Appreciate all you guys joining. What do we got? Anything? Ellen, do you see any questions on there?
Is there space for the clinic this weekend? I don't think so. I think we're up to the max. I think we're up to 25 for the clinic.
Write in the contact at tower26.com and Sabina will get back to you on information on the clinic. Contact, I'll write that in there. Contact at tower26.com. And Sabine will get back to you if there's any room on the clinic. All right. Anything else?
Another question that came in, are we allowed to stand up on our bike pedals when going uphill? I think that's up to you if you feel comfortable, but you're the pro, Jim.
Yes. I mean, yeah, whatever you have to do to get up it, that's something you're, like Alan said, if that's something you're comfortable doing, stand up on those pedals, helps you get up that hill, add a little more torque onto those pedals. But yeah, you're definitely allowed to do that. Just can't ride the bike backwards. Is that possible, Chris?
These things, you guys, you need to sort your stuff out this week. Don't leave it till Saturday afternoon and say suddenly, oh, I think I need a tri-kit. Oh, I think I need a wetsuit. Get it organized this weekend, Monday or Tuesday at the very latest. You know, don't be trying new stuff out on race day because it doesn't work. So
yeah,
get
organized. Get organized. No questions. Obviously, no questions on race day. Obviously, if you do have questions, we'll have plenty of Tower 26 coaches there helping out, answering those questions you need. We'll be doing the presentations on Saturday at Triathlon Labs. You're going to show up and bend our ear over there as well. But this is a fun event, guys. Just remember, we want to get your feet wet. A lot of you guys, your first triathlon you're ever competing in. So from here, we go to Ironman California in October. We'll see all you guys on the start line. No, one step at a time. Let's just get used to doing this. Let's enjoy the process. No stress. Have fun out there. Whatever you have to do to get through the race day, enjoy the day. Have fun, and make sure you smile for those cameras when you see them, because the results last for a day. The pictures last for a lifetime. So what we'll do is, like I said, I will process this recording. So if you guys want to watch it again, you want to look at that race day checklist. If you have anything you want clarity on, you can replay it. So I'll get the link sorted. I'll get that to Maria, and she'll send it out to the participants for the race. You guys can watch it again or check in on it whenever you need to. Anything else there, Chris?
What do you recommend to work out this week? Let's see. I would swim and run, and I would bike and run.
Yeah.
I would continue working out. I wouldn't do too much on Saturday, but you know, during the week, all week, just what you normally do. Definitely swim. If you can go down to the ocean, it's even better. If you can try your new wetsuit on, even better. Practice some nutrition.
Yep. Yeah, you don't want to do too much, but just keep moving. You don't want to take the whole week off. A lot of some athletes say, "Hey, I'm tapering. I don't want to do anything." You got to keep moving. You don't want to just completely stop for a week and then go into race day all stale. So do something. Don't be too intense with it, and just keep moving every day. Do something. All right. Beautiful. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining.
Thank you, everybody.
I see Coach Tona said I missed the beginning. How do we know what time we start? Check it out at Triathlon Lab. There'll be all the start times listed. There'll be all of the wave starts listed when you're at check-in. If you go on Saturday, also on Sunday. But the race starts at 7 a.m. and from there, all the waves are dosed out accordingly. So thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate it. And I will see you next Saturday, not tomorrow, following Saturday at Triathlon Lab. Thanks, Chris. Chris, anything else from you? You good?
No, that's it. Go good.
All
Thanks.
right.
Thanks, guys.
Ellen, thanks for the help. All right, guys.